You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere.
Good morning, everybody. It is September 4th of 2025. You're listening to the WXCO Morning Report on Bull Falls Radio, 98.9 FM and 1230 AM, online at WXCO.FM, and on the Civic Media app as well. Well, again, I am not a Chad Holmes. I am your faithful engineer slash producer, Ian Welsh. And I'm going to be in charge of this segment. The temperature right now is a little chilly. It's a high 39 at the moment. But the nice thing is it's mostly sunny. I know we had a good off and on rain yesterday, but this is Wisconsin, so any kind of weather can happen. But for this segment, I wanted to talk to you about something very exciting that's coming up for the Wausau Community Theater. This weekend, on Saturday and Sunday, WCT is going to be having auditions for their fall musical, Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street. This story, directed by the late, great Stephen Sondheim, is having auditions this weekend, Saturday, September 6th, from noon to 8 p.m., and Sunday, September 7th, from noon to 6 p.m. And these are 2 hours time slots that you can sign up for. So it's like a 12 to 2, a 2 to 4, 4 to 6, like that. And then the show dates themselves for this show are Friday, November 7th at 7:30, Saturday, November 8th at 2 and 7:30, and Sunday, November 9th at 2 p.m. at the Veninga Theater at the University of Wisconsin Stevens Point Wausau campus. And in regards to having the auditions, there are a lot of people already signed up for the audition. Last time I checked the sign-up sheet, they were up to 58 people who signed up for this. And there's still plenty of room for more people who want to audition. So if you're interested in coming to these auditions, all you have to do is make sure that you have a song to sing, preferably from a Stephen Sondheim show. Be sure to have the necessary karaoke track ready to be played on your phone. You can bring sheet music because there will be a musical accompanist available. However, it is more preferred if you have a karaoke track on your phone. Now, another important thing is that your audition song can be from Sweeney Todd, but it does not have to be. There will also be cold readings of the scenes as well, and I'm seeing this in bold print on the WCT website that accurate accents are a plus. It doesn't have to be perfect, but if you've ever seen the movie version of Sweeney Todd or seen the actual stage production, appropriate accents are very important for this show. They would also like you to fill out the audition form ahead of time before the auditions, which are available on both the Wausau Community Theater website under the link that says upcoming auditions, and you can also get them on the WCT Facebook page as well. And this show it's definitely, a darker show. I think it's actually one of the more darker shows I ever heard of. But if you've ever listened to the soundtrack of Sweeney Todd, it is absolutely phenomenal. The music itself is it's so powerful. The story itself is just incredibly gripping, and it is a dark comedy. So there is a lot of serious elements in it, but there's also a lot of good, I don't know if I should say good humor, but there is humor throughout the show as well. So if you're looking for a fun show to audition for with great music and a really powerful story, and this is the show for you. Remember, auditions will take place at the Wausau Community Theater building. At 136 Summer Street in Schofield, Wisconsin. So if you're looking for if you're looking for a good show to audition for, I would definitely suggest auditioning for Sweeney Todd. All right, coming up in our next segment, we're going to be talking with, first we'll be going back to Pat Crowell for the next segment, and when we come back at 7:20, we'll be talking with Wausau Democratic Representative Nancy Stencil. That's all coming up on the WXCO Morning Report on 98.9 WXCO.
You're listening to Civic Media. Stay up to date on the latest news and information for your local community and Wisconsin by signing up for our free email newsletter. Visit civicmedia.us/email to get started.
And welcome back. It is the WXCO Morning Report on 98.9 WXCO. It is 7:22. Fair skies, partly cloudy, a chilly start here in north central Wisconsin. 40 degrees at our studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. I am Chad Holmes with Ian Welsh. Ian, thank you for holding down the fort while I was staggering my way in this morning.
You're welcome, Chad.
And
always nice to talk about a community theater.
Well, it's always nice to talk some political realm issues as well. And
yep.
as we do every other Thursday, very happy to see across the table Nancy Stencil, who is the chairperson of the Marathon County Democratic Party. Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning.
I wanted to mention that I saw on your social media that you were off in Minnesota. When was that? Was that last weekend?
Yeah, that was last week, Monday.
What was the event?
I am the secretary of the environmental caucus for the state, and our president and I went to support Michelle Dietrich for to be reelected for the environmental on the National Democratic Committee. She's done a lot of really good work and continues to listen to us, and we have a very huge and growing caucus, and we just felt it would be a great experience and a good time to get to really support her.
Over the years, you've talked about so many environmental issues.
Mm-hmm.
You have so many hats that you're trying to keep on your head at this time.
Yeah, Yeah.
Do you think that, let's talk about the Democratic Party, and then we can talk nationally about the Republican Party as well, I guess, if you want to throw it in there. Where are we with environmental issues? Because so often, like so many issues, it feels as though the only time you really hear about it is when it's almost too late. And I know that you and others keep a close eye because the moneyed interests are always looking for openings to be able to take advantage of people who aren't watching.
We are constantly fighting for the good. I can't say enough good about Dan Barth from the area climate lobby. He's constantly on it. Be it if we are out at the bend watching that the drilling is going right, or Dan and I are also in a group called Rights of Nature. And that is something that legislation is being brought forth. I can't remember the bill 3436, I think, that wants to make it statewide that you cannot have any types of even non-binding resolutions for the rights of nature, which is saying that, the rivers, the streams have the same inherent rights as you and I.
One of the interesting aspects as well as we look forward and also look right now, because you've been spending a lot of time hanging out, not with Tom Tiffany, but around Tom Tiffany's office.
Around Tom Tiffany's office, yes. And we did all the Fridays in August. That got to be a little much.
Let me, though, ask you kind of big picture, because there's still a lot of discussion, and he's kind of feeding it as well, that he may run for governor. Should Tiffany run for governor? Maybe, and as well, in terms of the talk about what he's doing as a congressman, are we at times forgetting that he's still Toxic Tom and that the environment needs to be one of those
No, we don't
issues?
forget that.
Okay.
We had asked people, especially the last 2 Fridays that we did in August, to bring dirty water, be it out of a stream, be it like just very poorly brewed coffee. And last Friday was our last Friday. We did go up to his office. They were closed. I imagine they had the extra day for Labor Day weekend, like he really cares about labor. And we did leave him several bottles of his dirty, toxic water, 100% PFAS, 0% accountability, that he can take back to Washington with him, because we know he's not fighting very hard for us.
Do you think that environmental issues will be a factor in the next gubernatorial race, or is there just so much other stuff going on that it's getting lost? Because sometimes it feels as though some very important issues get lost in the wash that's going on.
I'm going to say I very much hope that they have a place front and center in
the discussion
in the upcoming. There are things being worked on at this time, and like Vinnie Moresi and Angelito Torito are working on things right now, trying to improve things for us.
What's your take on Vinnie Moresi?
I like him.
I do too, and I think
he's
that
bold.
that's
my favorite word lately. Bold.
That's what
He's not afraid to stand up for what we believe in. Like, we've come forth with things, and he's and I'm going to bring in Christian Phillips too. He's another one that they have stood up for what is right and what is good, and they have fought for it.
And that kind of brings a bridge, which I was kind of mentioning to you before we went on the air, that so often, and this is, I really don't care for the feeling I get, but so often when I hear some of the national Democratic leaders speak, the last thing is bold. It's just, you have a historically unpopular president right now doing historically unpopular things, and it still feels like it's Mr. Magoo in Washington with the Democratic leadership. Am I
would
wrong
totally
with
agree with you. It's like business as usual. Don't worry about this. We'll win in the midterms. My thought on that is don't count on it.
Democrats
don't ever take it for granted.
Oh, the thing about it, and I think we've talked about this, and I think I want to talk about more, because I truly believe that just the hope that the cycle of politics will put you as Speaker of the House, Hakeem Jeffries, or put you as Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, that's not enough.
No, show me that you should be there, not business as usual.
But also, I just think for the party, in order to have a sustained length of time to implement important policies, you can't just say, well, we're going to win this cycle, without giving any positive reasons for people to stay with you then in the next cycle.
Correct. I think that's the reason why a lot of people aren't even bothering to vote. You better get up there, you better be bold, and you better not only say, oh, we're going to do this. Show me. Show me your plan of how this is going to get done with some kind of a timeline of when it's going to get done.
I'm going to actually bring up an example this week of the Democratic House Minority Leader and the, I think, cluelessness, because I do think it needs to be talked about. It's not to cut down maybe allies, but at the same time, if they're not
doing it, call them out.
And that's the only way to get, I think, true victories, not just hope for defeat for the other guy. And I just, as we get closer and closer to 2026, I think it needs to be spoken about. So we'll be back with Nancy Stencil coming up at 7:52. Coming up next, it is more of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow after a bottom of the hour information update, including the Farm Report here on 98.9 WXCO.
And in the fringes, on the edge and off the avenue. And if you want me, you can find me left of center.
And welcome back. It is WXCO Morning Report on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. The time is 7:52 here on this Thursday morning, the 4th day of September. 40 degrees under fair skies. Talking to Marathon County Democratic Party Chairperson Nancy Stencil. And, I saw you on Monday at the Labor Day Parade.
Yes.
Big
Thank
holiday.
you.
But it's an important holiday. And
it is.
And again, it's one reason why I think history is so important, because the amount of tears and sweat and lives that were put out to get us the kind of lives that we live today.
People died for what you have today. And I think it is very important to get that out and make sure that people know it's not just a 3-day weekend for you to run up north and drink beer and whatnot. At least look at who gave you that.
And also, it is important. We talked earlier about environmental issues. Labor issues are important too, and sometimes we don't hear enough about them.
We don't.
And I do think that there's a hunger within the Democratic electorate in Wisconsin that the gubernatorial candidates talk about, turning back some of the horrible
stuff that did happen
in the Walker administration.
Yep, along with environmental and the labor, it needs to happen, and it needs to happen now. And that's probably another part of that bold approach. Show us what you're going to do, and let's get to work on it.
What do you think this whole primary is going to look like? Are we going to see candidates that do go bold? Because I
certainly hope so if we want to win.
We were talking off the air, not using any names.
Right.
You're seeing again some of the techniques, I think, to try to be everything to everyone. I hope those don't work this time around, because I do think that this state, if you're truly, I've heard this term so often, being handing the baton from Tony Evers to a next generation. Mm-hmm. Well, it can't just be, I think, a milquetoast handoff. It has to be a real bold move to the future.
Exactly. It can't be just more of the same. Tony has done a lot of good. Don't get me wrong. I adore the guy. But at the same time, I think we need somebody like, I put it to you before, like an Obama-type person that comes out with a short, concise message of open change. And how are you going to do it? With just some bullet points. We don't need a 20-page spread on, but, just this is what we're going to do. These are the steps we're going to do to take it, so that it shows the public you actually have put some thought behind this of how you're going to do this.
And back during that era of 2007, 2008, there was, I think, a sense within the country that we needed change. And maybe a lot of people would not be able to specifically say, this is exactly what I want done. But the overall arch was that, hey, we need something different going into the future, whether or not you felt like that way as a Republican or a Democrat, whatever it may be.
I think we all feel that way.
And I think we're sort of in a similar position here in Wisconsin that, yes, as you said, the governor has done a lot of good things against, again, majorities of Republicans in both houses of the state legislature. But we need somebody to say, hey, we do need something that needs to be different as we move forward.
Yeah, and I think that's what, in my opinion, appeals to a lot of people until the service is given and you find out it's not what you wanted. But you look at a lot of your Republican Party, and it's bold. They don't give a crap. They just plow right forward.
Isn't that funny?
And
real fast, I want to say something about that. I heard was I reading or watching something? So much goes into the head. And
Yes.
talking about, it was actually on one of the shows here on Civic Media yesterday, and one of the guests was saying that always that fear of Democrats going too far to the left. I never hear anybody talk about Republicans going too far to the right.
Yeah, I think we're the only people that are scared about that. But yeah, and we need to go further to the left. Our left is not a scary place to be. It's a place that's actually going to do some good. It's going to give people something that they can build their lives on.
I was yelling at my radio at the time saying, ask him specific policies that he would consider too far to the left, because terminology like that is easy to throw out there.
It is.
And then people Democrats better make sure they don't go too far to the left. I want to hear specific issues.
Yes.
That if somebody said, I want health care for all.
Exactly.
Medicare for all. Is that too far to the left? I mean, because
it's not.
But I think some of those folks think so. And when you talk about modulating and going to the center, that's another way of saying, well, we don't want to do things that change too much.
Yeah, we don't want to change anything. Maybe some of them nursing homes up north should change. And maybe you are going to the doctor too much. Well, maybe then vaccines aren't good. No, we need to stand up and we should be shouting this stuff from the rooftops.
Unfortunately, though, it's something I sit here talking to you about this, and we seem to have an agreement in that realm. But unfortunately, not enough Democrats feel that way, especially in leadership.
We got to keep working on it.
And to have the leadership, I think, catch up to the base. Would that be fair to say?
Yes, exactly. And, being chair, for the Northwoods for the 7th, I'm seeing a lot more action out of some of those smaller communities up there. They're not afraid to stand up and be bold.
And I guess in our final minute or so, I think it's important to, again, I think we talked about this previously, if you're somebody that is interested in running, you need people that are willing to step up.
Yes, we do.
I've heard you say it's
step
not easy.
up.
You're looking right now. You're trying to recruit for different positions, and people, don't be afraid to have the first conversation.
Really, and even like spring elections, county boards, city council, things like that. You're not alone. We can help provide some great training. I'm going to give a shout out to Wisconsin Progress because I think they do a phenomenal job. You need to stand up for your community.
Real fast, if you talk about training exercises, you've mentioned previously multiple times about Katrina Shanklin and Rust Belt Rising.
Yes, that is another one. God, I love that girl.
But I want her to come back and run for something big.
I know, I do too. She's such a fabulous person. She really is.
She's doing so much good, but at the same time, boy.
Maybe she's listening to us. Maybe if we beg harder.
I would say I would vote for her for governor.
Oh, my God. I would. In a heartbeat, I would.
Okay, Katrina, I hope you're out there.
Yeah, we hope you are out there.
This is a rising of the people here saying we're going to draft you.
You accomplished your mission, Rust Belt Rising. Come on.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you.
I'll be joining Pat Kreitlow coming up after the news.
You're listening to Civic Media. Find the latest news, information, and archives of all your favorite shows on the Civic Media website, civicmedia.us.
It is the WXCO Morning Report on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. 46 degrees now, warming up a bit under mostly cloudy skies here on this Thursday morning. With Ian Welsh, I am Chad Holmes, and coming up we'll have the number for the day here to wrap things up in a few minutes. But wanted to continue talking about what I was just talking about with Pat Kreitlow. Again, the Wausau Ethics Board met last night as they continue to try to move forward on the Denny ethics complaint, but the ultimate hearing has been postponed as we continue to just, like a turtle, move very slowly down this road.
Yeah.
But again, There was supposed to be a hearing on Friday. The board decided to issue subpoenas again for more witnesses who were scheduled to appear, following a suggestion from special counsel Eric Larson. He indicated the subpoenas can be reissued when the new hearing date is set. The board will next meet on September the 12th to evaluate the city council's decision about hiring outside counsel for city employees. I mentioned the fact that Caitlin Bernardi, one of the figures involved in Wausau city government that's been asked to sit down for a deposition, has not. I want to also indicate that it's not just a case where perhaps she is refusing to. It's a case where there may not be funding for legal representation, because the amount of money that had been set aside for legal representation has basically run out. So there has to be decisions made in that realm as well. But City Clerk Caitlin Bernardi, City Attorney Ann Jacobson have not sat down for depositions sought by the mayor's legal team, despite the board's order to do so. And based on that, this hearing scheduled for tomorrow has been postponed. So again, it's just a case where, as I said earlier, this is not a case of trying to run the mayor out of office. He's not being removed from office. It's a case of trying to figure out what is right and what is wrong when it comes to the actions taken. Because a mayor, it could be Doug Denny, it could be another mayor, could say, well, I want to remove this drop box. Can he do it or not do it? There has to be, I think, ultimately a decision made on what is allowable, what is not allowable. And also, again, there's a lot of frustration on my part where it feels as though public servants are not coming out and just giving the information that they have so we can get to a conclusion in this case as well. So, again, the mayor deserves a completely fair hearing. And I have no issue with the mayor and his legal team saying, hey, if these depositions have not occurred yet, we cannot move forward on the hearing. So I think that at this point, unfortunately, there's really no choice in the matter, that no way we could have a hearing tomorrow, and there's no way we could have a hearing until some of these depositions are handled. So it's a story that has been watched for nearly a year, and we're coming up on that 1-year anniversary. It will continue to be watched, I think, for the days, weeks, and I hope not months ahead, but who knows what is going to happen here. So
all we're asking for is a little accountability.
Exactly, and also just answers to the questions, because the mayor
did he do something wrong?
Yeah.
Is he sorry?
Well, the mayor,
make sure it doesn't happen again.
It doesn't matter. No, this is not about whether the mayor is sorry or not. This is a case about whether or not he is allowed to do it or not. If the mayor wants to say he's sorry or not, that's a whole different situation. But this is just strictly about whether or not he is allowed to do it, and any mayor is allowed to do it. But so again. There was, I think, one piece of interesting information that came out of the meeting last night. According to a story at WausauPilotandReview.com, another key development that surfaced during the discussion was that Larson and the mayor's legal team have reached an agreed set of facts, but the document is yet to be signed. So that would be a significant move forward, to have a set of facts that is agreed on by both sides in terms of trying to get to an ultimate decision when it comes to this case. So we will continue to keep an eye on this as it continues to move forward. But as we are now at 8:27, it's time now for our number for the day quiz.
Yes.
Ian Welsh, every day at this time, we give him 3 choices, and then one of which is our actual number for the day. And today, it is day number 1 of the 2025 National Football League season. Tonight, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles take on the Dallas Cowboys in the Thursday night kickoff game.
Okay.
Green Bay Packers will kick things off on Sunday at Lambeau Field, taking on the Detroit Lions in a big one, a very big game to start off the NFL season for the Packers. Of course, last season, Detroit was the champions of the NFC North Division. Packers did make the playoffs as a wild card. But our number for the day is, how many NFL championships have the Green Bay Packers won?
How many NFL championships?
That is in the history of the team going back to 1920. How many NFL championships have the Green Bay Packers won? They've won a number of Super Bowls, but they also won NFL championships prior to those Super Bowls as well. So these are the total of the Green Bay Packers league titles. Your choices are 13 championships, 16 championships, 19 championships. So how many NFL championships have the Green Bay Packers won? 13, 16, or 19?
Okay. NFL championships for the Packers. 13, 16, or 19. You know what? I'm going to say 13. 13 is my final answer. I'm going to say 13.
Going with a small number.
Taking a shot.
The Green Bay Packers have won 13 league championships. 9 pre-Super Bowl and 4 Super Bowls.
Got myself on the board.
So that means that you are 1 for 3, and that means it all comes down to tomorrow.
Yes, it does.
So we'll hopefully get you a W tomorrow and another winning week and a passing week as well.
Indeed.
Have a good rest of your Thursday.
You too, Chad. Happy Thursday, everybody.
More Pat Kreitlow coming up next on WXCO.
The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.